Hello, good evening. I am Savva. That is Henry, and that is Pete. And today we are Savva Wright live tonight. First of all, Henry, how are you, sir? How's your day been?
Yeah, it's been another good day. Bit happier. The weather's a bit cooler today, but it's been a good day. Happy to talk football. Happy to be back.
Nice. I like your backwards hat, like something from the 90s. It's very cool and very sexy.
Backstreet Boy.
Backstreet Boys.
I don't wear hats. If I wear it the normal way, it just doesn't look right.
And we have also got Pete from North London. Pete, do you want to, how are you? And do you want to just quickly give a quick intro into your new channel that's starting next week?
I'm good, mate. Thank you very much. Yeah, so basically, new channel, everything football from a North London perspective. So it's me and a Gooner going at it. We're good mates, but obviously there's a rivalry there. He's quite level-headed, which is quite rare in Gooners. You don't find them often, but I found one there. And we'll have a good old debate about what's going on.
Good. Okay, so anybody who's in the chat, do yourselves a favour. Get onto @NorthLondon subscribe, show some love. Come on, this is a YouTube family. This is a Spurs family. We're all in this because we love the beautiful game. Guys, let's crack on. First of all, thank you to everybody who's watching the show. Just so you know, I will give away a free football shirt to somebody. I say a football shirt, not a Spurs shirt. If we manage to get 25 extra subscribers to @SavvaTalkSpurs and 150 likes on this show. So please smash the like button. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. I'm currently on 1,385. If I get to 1,410 and we get 150 likes, a free Spurs, fraudulent slip, a free football shirt, depending on who you support. Lads, let's crack on. Let me start with you, Henry. Let's look at some of the transfers. We said last week it was quite busy. There was a lot going on in the market. It looks like that has continued. The first transfer I want to talk to you about is one that all the Spurs fans are going to love hearing about is Zinchenko from Man City to Arsenal, 32 million. Take your Spurs hat off. Good signing for Arsenal, bad signing, indifferent. What are your thoughts, mate?
If I'm being honest, it's a good signing for Arsenal. He's a versatile player, but he's a jack of all trades, master of none. No one really knows is he an out and out left wing back or wing back. He plays in midfield for Ukraine. He's up and down the pitch, but I think it's a good signing for Arsenal. He brings versatility to their team. He gives competition to Kieran Tierney, but these Arsenal fans are acting like they're saying Roberto Carlos. Twitter, and social media, they're going absolutely berserk. I'm already seeing compilations of him. Don't get me wrong, it's a good signing. And rightly so. I'd be happy if we sign him, looking at the state of our wing backs. But for Arsenal, it's a good signing, but it's nothing more. He's not a world beater. You haven't signed a Kevin De Bruyne or a Haaland or Harry Kane or Lewandowski. You've just signed a good fullback. That's it, just in my opinion. I think everyone needs to calm down a little bit talking about him.
Fair enough. And just quickly before I go to Pete, Henry, if you were Arsenal, where would you play him? Because he tends to play more as a left back for Man City, but for the Ukraine, he tends to either be wide left sort of midfield or central midfield. Is that why they bought him, for his versatility? And where would you play him?
I think Arsenal have bought him because Kieran Tierney is injury prone a lot. It probably could have been a different end to last season's top four race if they had Thomas Partey and Kieran Tierney fit 4 or 5 games before they're both injured and they completely capitulated all their games. I think he will add a lot of competition to Kieran Tierney. I don't see him starting in their midfield. The likes of Granit Xhaka in there, Thomas Partey in there, this new Vieira guy as well. I think Zinchenko will play left back. They're in the same position as us. Next year, they go from playing every 6-7 days to every 3 or 4 days now. And they've got a very quick turnaround between the Europa League and the Premier League. It's going to be Thursday, Sunday. So it's going to be a very, very quick turnaround. So, I expect him to play left back. It will be a constant rotation between him and Kieran Tierney. Whoever plays the better football will obviously play the bigger games. And just to clarify, full ball is not actually my birthday, but yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, listen. I had a spate of that, Henry, where everyone was saying happy birthday to me every stream. So it is what it is. Pete, from an Arsenal perspective, I'm guessing when you look at Zinchenko, like Henry said, it's not the glitz, it's not the glamour, but he is a very experienced Premier League player, multiple trophies under his belt, trusted by Pep Guardiola, can play in multiple positions. 32 million. It's a no-brainer, isn't it, for the Gooners?
Oh, all day long. It'd have been a no-brainer for us, to be honest. I think you can never go wrong signing a player for Man City these days because you know they're going to be good technically, they're going to be well coached, well drilled. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
As Henry said, they're playing twice a week now. I mean, he's going to have to get used to playing on a Thursday night. He's not used to that. But obviously, Tierney struggles to play once a week, so they need better cover in there. So that's what they've gone and done. You got to say fair play. They've gone and got someone from the champions.
Yeah, I mean, is there something to be said before we move on to the next player? Is there something to be said for Arsenal have gone and bought two players that they're not just winners. They've been winning things recently. It's not like they've won something 5-10 years ago. They've got that mentality in them. Now, yes, somebody said to me last night on Instagram, well, are they really winners? They're bit part players. But yeah, of course they're winners. They've played enough games to win multiple trophies. Could that be good for Arsenal? They bring that winning mentality, Henry, both Jesus and Zinchenko.
Yeah, I guess it changes the mentality in the changing room, but I don't think this will drastically transform them massively. Gabriel Jesus has never really, he's a good versatile player who can play anywhere in the front line, but they're one injury away and they've got Eddie Nketiah out front.
Yeah, sure.
They're one injury away to Zinchenko, and Kieran Tierney's got to play 40, 50 games. Yeah, it will give them an uplift, and I'm sure Arsenal will be panning out the media. Sky Sports will be panning it out. They're already comparing Gabriel Jesus to Richarlison, like Richarlison's going to start every single game.
Yeah,
it's what the media do. I think, yeah, it might put a spring in Arsenal's step, but I don't think it changes massively. I said if you would have brought in like a Haaland type player in Arsenal, then obviously they've got every right to be jumping around. But don't get me wrong, these are two players that have won a lot of trophies, but at the same time, I don't think it changes them massively. They've still got to play catch up because they don't have the firepower. How many teams in and around Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea, besides the top two, how many teams in and around there have a player that can score 20 goals a season? Okay, you can say Man United do and Ronaldo, but who have Arsenal got? They don't really have anyone. Then Tottenham have obviously got Kane and Son.
Yeah.
Then Man United don't have anyone. Chelsea, okay, you could argue maybe Raheem Sterling, but that's it. So they've got to play catch up.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I mean, Pete, let me just quickly come to you. First and foremost, Party After Party said Zinchenko is a good signing, but doesn't make the top four favourites. Yeah, I don't believe anyone would think that just off those alone. He's gone on to say, trusted by Pep, he hardly played for City and Pep let him go. I feel like that's a lack of understanding with what Zinchenko's role at Man City was. I think the point was, Pete, right, that Pep Guardiola's kept him around at the club for 5, 6, 7 seasons and is never afraid to put him in a big game if he's got injuries. Let's move on, Pete. I want to move on to this next player. So the next one is Manchester United. Okay, so they've signed Lisandro Martinez from Ajax. I think it was in the region of about 58 million euros, something in that in that ballpark. Ten Hag again looks like he's going from the Dutch league. He's going from what he knows. Small. The media are making a big thing about his height, but good in the air. His pass completion rate last year, I think, was the best in the league. Is this a good signing for Man U? And is this something Man United needed with their current crop of defenders?
I'd say so. They need better all-round players. I mean, Harry Maguire's like a big lummox, isn't he? He'll put his own in everything, but when you get him on the floor, you can turn him inside out. It's been happening many times. But I see them in their friendly the other day, and they look pretty slick, to be honest. It's only a friendly, but from what we saw last season, they look like they've been doing a lot of training on the training ground, pass and move, plenty of Dutch influence in there. You could see that, and I think it's Crystal Palace they tore apart, and Liverpool. It's only pre-season, it's only friendlies, but it's not a bad start, I suppose. You got results, you got the football.
Absolutely. I think the key thing is as well, it's only friendlies, but friendlies are used for a couple of things, right, lads? They're used for getting fitness first and foremost. But I suppose if you're a new manager coming in, you want to start to see the team take on board your ideas. And Man United as a club for years now, no one's really known what are they. They've had good individuals. They'll always score goals. Bruno Fernandes, Ronaldo, these people will always have them there or thereabouts. But no one could say, they're a pressing side or they're a passing side. They've just been a bit bitty. So encouraging signs, right, Pete, for the Man United fans that they are seeing their team pressing, working hard, playing some nice football.
Yeah, I'd be happy with that. The only problem they've got is this whole Ronaldo issue that needs to get sorted out one way or the other. And then if they lose him, then they've got to go out and buy some serious firepower. Where they get that from, I don't know, but that's going to be their next problem, and they need to sort out quickly.
Okay, so Henry, what are the chances? I mean, first of all, Lisandro Martinez, 58 million, and follow on from that. What are the chances of Ronaldo leaving? Because he's not with the squad. Ten Hag is saying, no, hang on, I'm planning with him. What's going on with? Start with Martinez and then move on to Ronaldo for me, mate.
Well, in my opinion, Martinez is a fantastic addition. A lot of people will say, he's height. I'm not comparing him to these type of players. Baresi, Cannavaro, both tiny centre backs. Maldini wasn't a giant. If you can play on the ground, you're laughing. Your other centre back will do a lot of the aerial duels, and he's proven that. He's proven that Ajax rarely get it wrong with their recruitment. And if they don't recruit well, they'll push through the youth and the academy. When's the last time a player left Ajax in the last, say, 3 or 4 years and wasn't a talent? You look at Donny van der Beek, Ziyech, Frankie de Jong, De Ligt.
Davinson Sanchez.
That's the one. I knew someone was going to bring that up. But that's probably the only one you'd say maybe in the last.
That's why I said 4 years and not 5.
Yeah. I was holding that down, but
no, but they've got a factory of players coming out of there, haven't they, Henry?
And their whole ethos in their club is they play the exact same style of football from the under-14s all the way to the first team. So when they do bring an academy graduate through, they can play the system. With Man United, it's a different kettle of fish. They are rotten all the way from the top of the Glazers to what's on the pitch. You look at their club's been an absolute shambles the last couple of years. Even before that, from David Moyes, Louis van Gaal, Mourinho won a few trophies, but apparently he's washed and a shit manager. Then they brought in, Solskjaer, never really worked out. Now they've brought in an experienced coach, but he needs time. Man United don't necessarily always give managers time.
Right.
Mourinho was out in 18 months. David Moyes was out in 11 months. Yeah, they gave Solskjaer a few years, but with Ronaldo, personally, I think he will leave. This window. Yeah, I'd put big money on it as well. He'll leave.
And okay, so with that in mind, and I'll ask this to you, Henry, and then Pete, have a little think in the background. If Ronaldo is going to go, he's 37. Yeah. 37. I just hope that his physique is as good as mine when he gets to my age, because he's lacking a bit at the moment in the six-pack area. How much realistically are they going to want for someone of that age? Right? Does his name remove any of that age issue? And where's he going? Who is taking Cristiano Ronaldo realistically?
The price tag, I'd say 25 to 30 million.
Okay.
It was but it's Ronaldo. He's still 37 years old. Right? Forget the shape, etc. And Alier's put Henry. No one wants him. Bayern Munich want Ronaldo. They just can't justify paying the wages. Having Mane up front is not enough for Bayern Munich. They've just let Lewandowski go. But Ronaldo's been, how many times has a German team, arguably Bayern Munich, come in for him? The only league I can see him rejoining is La Liga. And the only team I can see him rejoining is Real Madrid. As the only thing I think.
Can you see him going there? I mean,
Well,
this
besides
is for both of you.
Benzema, the firepower isn't like a Liverpool or a Man City, is it? I know they've got Vinicius Junior, and I know
Yeah.
they've got Rodrigo. And you look
Yeah.
around, Eden Hazard. Apparently, he made a few comments that he's going to come back, and we're going to see this rebirth. But I think he'll only go La Liga. I don't see another Premier League team going in for him. I don't see Man City, Liverpool, definitely not Chelsea. Us, there's more chance of us winning the league title than signing Ronaldo. You look to France, PSG, he's not going to go there. They've already got 3 superstars. I don't think he's going to join Germany. And then you look at Italy or Spain. Okay, he's already done it with Juventus. Could they come knocking on the door? Yeah, okay, they've got Vlahovic, Morata, but it's still not enough firepower. I honestly cannot see Ronaldo staying. The only way I can is if they reassure him with another striker around him. Because you've got to remember, they've lost Greenwood, they've lost Cavani, they've brought back Martial, who's a bit hit and miss. Rashford, he only scored 5 goals last year. They can't put all their eggs in one basket on a 37-year-old. They're going to be playing, who's going to be playing in the World Cup, who's going to be playing Champions League and Premier League. For me, I think he'll go to a La Liga team.
Pete, Ronaldo staying, going.
I think Ronaldo do whatever he likes. To be honest, he's that big. I think he's bigger than Man United now. That's where Man United have dropped so far. He's a brand in himself. He's got the money to buy out his contract if he wants to. And he already had an offer in Saudi Arabia for £2 million a week. He could buy himself out and then go wherever he likes. MLS, something like that. He might retire. He just had a tragic event in his life with his son dying or his baby. So he might think, I've had enough now. He'll do whatever he likes. But
I don't think he'll retire. He's got more mentality now. He wants to just go on.
Yeah,
look, Ibrahimovic just signed another contract.
But you don't know what he wants. Do you know what I mean? He might when you have a big event like that in your life, you might think family's priority now. But he is. When you get Ronaldo, you pay out for him, but he pays for himself, doesn't he? Wherever he goes, he'll pay for himself.
Yeah,
commercial values through the roof.
So Pete, let me stay with you then. Let's move on to our next player. So a signing that seemed to get done it seemed like 36, 48 hours. Everyone said that this man was going to Inter Milan. He was actively in talks with Inter Milan. He was the Serie A Defender of the Year last year, Bremer from Torino. And then Juventus came in, outbid Inter. 24 hours later, he's at the stadium holding up a shirt. How good a signing is Bremer for Juventus, who are somewhat rebuilding, right? Because they were at the top for a decade, and now they've been overtaken by the 2 Milans and Napoli. So is that a good signing for them?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not an expert on the lad. I've not watched enough Italian football, but what I've seen, he looks decent. Any player, Juventus don't buy shit, really, do they? Let's be honest, they know what they're doing. You're buying a younger player like that, he's going to be around for a long time, isn't he?
Absolutely.
Signing for them.
I think it's interesting because I think Inter Milan would have got the signing done, but Skriniar's staying now. He's not. He's rejected PSG. So Skriniar is the main centre half there. Then you've got the young Bastoni who's. What you say? Sorry.
I know somewhere he can go.
Then you look at they've got Bastoni. Then they've got De Vrij. So where does Bremer fit in there? Then they've got 2 backup young centre backs as well. When you look at Juventus, Chiellini's gone. Bonucci's 36. De Ligt's gone by Munich.
Let's talk about this then, Henry. Let's talk about it then. Like you said, I think the strength for Inter Milan for the last few years has been that their back three has been excellent, right? Bastoni on the left, Skriniar and De Vrij. They've now added Bremer to that. Surely common sense tells you that one of the others is going, right? Mm-hmm. Now, everyone's saying Bastoni don't want to go. Now, whether or not that was he doesn't want to leave Inter for Tottenham, could it be that a big club, no disrespect to Tottenham, but a big club comes in for Bastoni and all of a sudden I'm committed, it's my hometown club, that might go out the window. Is there any chance of that? I.e. a Chelsea, a Man City?
Well, I look around. So Chelsea have just signed, they're about to agree a deal with Koundé. They've already brought in Koulibaly. They've got Chalobah. They've got Thiago Silva.
Yeah.
Bayern Munich have now got, I know Pavard, they're looking at releasing Pavard or getting him off the books. I'd snap him up in a heartbeat. He could play centre-back at Tottenham. They've just signed Ligt. You look at Real Madrid, they've signed Rudiger. They've got Diego Militao. They've also got Alaba. I think Bastoni will come in. I can see someone like, I can honestly, for some reason, see Tottenham going in for him. And that's not me being deluded. Maybe not necessarily.
Bastoni.
That's not. I'm not saying we're going to go and pay 60 million, but I reckon we'll sniff around, pussyfoot around like we did with Jed Spence for bearing on half a year, and then a big club like maybe a Chelsea might go in, or maybe a Manchester United. I look at Man United and think their defence. I know they've signed Martinez, but still, Maguire, Varane doesn't look himself. What's happening with Lindelof? Maybe a Man United are this club that will pay beyond, limitation for a player.
So, okay, let me bring you in here, Pete. I mean, if we just quickly, I don't want to talk about Spurs. That's not the aim of this show. But the news that all of these ITKs were saying is that Spurs aren't buying a centre-back this window because the two that he wants are Bastoni of Inter Milan and Vardiol. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. That's just what I've picked up lately, of RB Leipzig. Right? They're all saying we're not getting you on because those two players are not going anywhere this window. How gutting from a Spurs fan point of view, but how funny from a football point of view would it be if both of those get snapped up? Because I'm reading that Vardiol is wanted by Man City. Bastoni, they might have to let go for money purposes. How gutting would that be, Pete, if both of those two targets went elsewhere other than Spurs?
Oh, massive. And then it would just prove that all that was just a load of crap. We just don't want to come to Tottenham because we haven't got the prestige to attract these players. And we piss around in the market when it comes to trying to do a deal anyway. So not only we don't have the prestige, but there's a whole to and fro that takes weeks on end for the people, the owners of the club, the selling club, to get anything done. Because Levy, no, I don't want to pay that. I want to pay this. No, I don't want to pay that. And they ain't got time for that. Especially when it's the later part of the window. If you're buying a player now, the later part of the window, you got to pay the money because clubs don't want to be doing it on the last couple of days because they haven't got time to replace. Yeah, and that's why normally better players go early. But if they do go, it'll be gutting, and that another thing that will piss off Conte, and that's another red flag for me.
Absolutely, Henry. Just quickly before I come to you, people, I am seeing some of these questions. Please note when you ask some questions, I am starring them so I can come back and ask Pete and Henry a bit later. Also, please smash the like button. There are 93 of you in here, only 33 likes. So there's only 1/3 of you that have liked the show. Also, if you do want to put any super chats in or super stickers, 50% does go to charity. And Scott, I will come to this question a bit later because I fully agree with you on this. Henry, surely, right? I mean, who's likely to go for you? Is it going to be Skriniar and PSG are finally going to cough up the cash for him? Or do you think it will be Bastoni?
I think it'll be Bastoni. Don't think De Vrij will go. He's 30 now? Kind of happy there. Skriniar, no one's really sniffed around. I can see a Man City going to get Bastoni, actually, thinking about it. I've sat here because I thought, if they do get rid of Ake, they've got Diaz and they've got Stones. Mm-hmm. Then, and they've got Laporte. If Ake does move, he comes in occasionally and covers. Bastoni would walk in there and be arguably, you'd say him or Diaz would be the best centre half, right?
Is he better than Laporte?
Yeah, miles better than Laporte. Have you watched Bastoni play?
Many times. I've seen him have a lot of good games. I've also seen, for me, he's one of those. He's very, very good, but he's still got that youth in him.
Oh yeah, he's only 22, 23. So
I think Laporte's an excellent centre half. I think him and Diaz.
I think Laporte is not far off Diaz level. I feel like Diaz makes a bit more mistakes, but Laporte never. And this is just me looking at him. Whenever a ball comes into the box, he never ever looks confident. On attacking wise, though, he's brilliant. Yeah. But when a ball comes in from a corner, he's scrambling. all the time. And I think, that might be just something Guardiola will straighten out of his game. But I think Bastoni, someone's going to come knocking. We're only in July yet. We've got all of what? The season starts in 16 days?
Yeah.
We've got 16 days, and then we'll know what's happening.
How Spursy would it be? Is that Bastoni goes to Man City, they sell Ake to someone else? We don't even get him either.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, apparently Pep didn't allow Ake to go to Chelsea because he values him, he wants him, and I think the beauty of Ake, and what a lot of people do, they go, "Oh, he's shit." He's not. He's a very good defender that just does his job. There's no bells, there's no whistles. He's very good in the air. But what Ake can do is cover the left back area as well as the centre half, and he's quick. Yeah. Just quickly before we move on from this, this came out today from Fabrizio Romano that Inter Milan are in talks with Nikola Milenkovic of Fiorentina, who I think is a wonderful centre half.
Mm-hmm.
I won't get into the Spurs point, but it does beg the question of why Spurs only seemingly want one of two centre backs when there's all of these wonderful centre backs moving clubs. Let's move on from this. It kind of ties into this. The reason why Bremer went to Juventus is because Matthijs de Ligt moved for, what was it, 58, 62 million, something in that region, to Bayern Munich. Henry de Ligt was, when he made that move to Juve, he was the big hope. He was, the world's best young defender. And I don't know whether it's a byproduct of Juve not being what they were for the last few years, but he doesn't seem to have lived up to that hype. Is this a fresh start for him? And would you say this is kind of like he's got to do it at Bayern, or it'll go down as a bit of a flop at both? Is that hot?
Yeah, he come out, obviously, when he had that move to Juventus, he was, I think he's the youngest ever Netherlands captain ever and the youngest ever Ajax captain ever. When he joined Juventus, it was this, world beater of a centre half. Didn't really work out, but then, as you said, Juventus have had their downfall, and no one really, besides Ronaldo, at Juventus in the last 2 or 3 years has really lit the ground alight, have they? No. He joins Bayern Munich now with. Who's the other? Upamecano, they've also got Davis, and Kimmich can play right back, also plays DM, and they've got Pavard. I think, and they've got a young coach in Julian Nagelsmann. Listen, he's guaranteed himself silverware. He's guaranteed himself a league title because this will be 11 on the bounce this year if they win it, which is just ridiculous. Dortmund are never going to challenge as much as we think they're always going to. But I don't know what you two think about it, but is it just, if anyone joins Bayern Munich nowadays, it's the same as PSG. Is it just, are they selling out? Like when Mbappe signed that contract, Mbappe could have joined Real Madrid, the biggest football club in the world, and he could have dominated. He stayed in France.
Listen, it's a great question, Pete. I'm going to ask you that very question, but just before you do, I'm just going to insert there, Henry. You know my feelings on Mbappe. If I take away his ability, which is second to none, right? His mentality of staying in the French league where he's been all his career, right? In a league where they win it by 25, 30 points most seasons. He had a chance to go on a free, and could have gone to every top club in the world. If his agent had said, Mbappe's interested, every top club would have taken him, and he stayed there. For that alone, I will never ever consider him in the chat for Ballon d'Ors. I will never ever consider him as one of the world's best because he's doing it week in, week out against one of the weakest leagues in Europe. So Pete, to go to Henry's question, players going to Bayern Munich, is that becoming the equivalent of going to PSG in France?
League-wise, yes. But what Bayern do have, which what PSG don't, is a long and successful pedigree in the Champions League. They do go far in it every year. PSG have only just got there, but Bayern have won it, at least twice in the last 8-10 years, something like that. They pick it up every sort of 5 or 6 years. They do manage to either get to the final or win it. So they've got that in them. And But the German league, I think, but you do get better. The other teams are better in the German league than the French league. You like your Leipzigs, your
Yeah,
Dortmunds. Do you know what I mean?
they are.
They are better. But it is a one-team league, and whenever Bayern Dortmund do get a good player who rips it up, they sell him to Dortmund, to Munich, which I never understand. So there's always that element to it.
It's mad, isn't it?
I don't
Do you know what? I understand when Dortmund are selling players like Haaland and he's going to City. Yeah, you think, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
But the number of players in recent years alone, guys, that have made that trip from Dortmund to Bayern.
Lewandowski, why?
The Dortmund hierarchy that are involved in those conversations must just sit there and think, what's the point? What are we doing? Why are we giving our best players to Bayern Munich? Look, let's move on from that. Let's move. Sorry, Pete, De Ligt going to Bayern Munich. Good move for him. Good move for them.
Yeah, I think so. It hasn't worked out for him at Juventus. They're in a bit of transition at the moment. He is still very young, especially for a centre back to be the captain of his country and all that. It's quite a lot of responsibility. Bayern Munich don't normally buy poor players. They've got a habit of buying these players that have gone to, like, how many times they buy players off Madrid that went there, didn't really work it out. Robben, Ribery, who all got like writ off at Madrid, then they buy them and then they turn them into world beaters again.
Yeah. It's an interesting one. Let's keep with the Bayern Munich theme then, Henry. Possibly I say possibly, this is the biggest deal of the last week, 2 weeks. Lewandowski going from Bayern Munich to Barcelona. Now, Barcelona, we're going to talk in a bit about the Champions League, but Barcelona, for me, that's what they've been missing. Since Messi went, even maybe the last 1 or 2 years with Messi, they haven't had a bloke other than Messi that scores goals at a prolific rate. They've had a lot of Depay gets a few, Ferran Torres gets a few, Aubameyang will get a few, Dembele. Does this change the game, and does this signing make that La Liga title race go back to not just being absolutely obliterated by Real Madrid?
No, I think Real Madrid will obliterate it again. I can't.
Do you think?
Yeah, I think they've got Tchouaméni now. They've got Rudiger now. They will go and get another forward. Their midfield, I think, is, let's be honest, if Frankie de Jong goes, I still prefer Real Madrid's midfield with Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Modric, Toni Kroos, Casemiro. The name's gone on and on. They've now got
getting old though, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter though. Okay, if Modric and Casemiro aren't at it, you can bring in youngsters that are like Camavinga and Tchouaméni. Both are top internationals. Then you look at the front line. They've got arguably the best number 9 in the world at the moment in Benzema. Some people would argue Lewandowski, but he proved in that Champions League campaign. You might say, oh yeah, but he stat pads in a shit league in La Liga. But he scored against Man City, Liverpool, Real Madrid, and PSG and Man City. He tore them all to shreds. I think, don't get me wrong, Lewandowski being probably arguably the best number 9 in the world as well. I just think Barcelona need maybe 1 or 2 more years under Xavi really to kick on. I think they're going to have a big issue replacing Busquets. For me...
Don't you think, again, just playing devil's advocate here, don't you think since Xavi came in, their form was phenomenal? Mm-hmm. And, Barcelona now, for me, it's not them against Madrid in a funny kind of way. It's about what those two teams do against everybody else. And for me, Lewandowski will now add that extra 15, 20 points. Maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but because of games where they failed to finish their dinner, he's the difference.
You've now got someone who knows where the net is. But, like I said about Arsenal and Tottenham, they're still playing catch up. Real Madrid have already got someone who knows where the net is. And I think Real Madrid have a better overall balanced squad. I think my issue with Barcelona, it's not necessarily putting the ball in the back of the net. I don't think they've got a standout centre half. I look at Madrid, they've got Militao, they've now got Rudiger, who arguably was the best centre half in the Premier League last year.
Is Militao stand out?
No, yeah, but he's only going to get better. He's only what 23, 24. They've also got who's the chap? The Austrian guy. What's his name?
Alaba.
They've also got Nacho. They've got Mendy
But
at
then
left
Barca
back.
have got up and coming, right? Like if you look at around
they're going to need 1 or 2 more years. In 2 years, Gabby, all these youngsters they've got are going to be superstars. They're going to be what PSG are now, but in 2 years.
Yeah. Just quickly, we've got a question here just while we were talking about it. Pete, going to ask you this. Matthew Emerson said, Savva, can't you argue that Mbappe, he's showing more ambition because he's trying to win the Champions League with a team that's never won it? So, Pete, my question to you off the back of that is, does playing 6 to 12 games a year in the Champions League show more ambition than actually going to a top league and being the kind of top gun in those leagues, the way Messi and Ronaldo have been for 15 years? Is that enough?
No, it's not enough for me. You're playing in a French league, you lose. For me, you lose all self-respect. Neymar went there to win the Ballon d'Or, never won it because people know it. It's just you can run around kicking the ball up in the air for half an hour and not get tackled. Any other league, especially in England, you'll be up in the air within the first 2 kick-ups. But Man City never won it. Haaland's gone there, so that's gone. There's teams that haven't won it for a long time, but PSG, you look at it and you think this league's just not worth watching.
I mean, as well, PSG last year, I've got a few friends that are PSG fans. Henry, I'll actually introduce them to you tomorrow when we're in the office. But they'll tell you that some of the football they saw last year from PSG, they said was the worst they've seen for a decade. But they said they'll always win games because individuals will do something great. But the actual football, they don't have to play well to win games. They never have to play well to win games. Henry, just quickly on that, Mbappe, is it ambition to stay at a club like PSG to try and win a Champions League once a year?
No, not at all. I look at Mbappe and you think, okay, now Ronaldo and Messi are going to hang their boots up in a few years. The next 2 big players probably will be Haaland and Mbappe. They'll kind of be like what Ronaldo and Messi are now. And I think Mbappe to play at Paris Saint-Germain in a team where it's only dominated by PSG, look around. There's one Champions League club and the rest are Europa League and Conference League, and even worse than that.
Yep.
The margin is massive, isn't it?
It's like
Man City in the Championship.
Yeah, it's like tennis. You got all the top boys. You got Djokovic, you got Kyrgios, you got Nadal, and then it's everyone else.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's such a big drop off. It's like Man City in the Championship. Imagine them against the likes of Barnsley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Absolutely. So just quickly before I go on to the next player, we've just had an influx of people have arrived. There are 140 of you now in the chat. For anyone that hasn't, please subscribe to Henry Wright TV, to North London Is, Pete's new channel, and of course to Savva Talk Spurs. As you can see here, for anyone that's just joined, if I get 25 new subscribers tonight and 150 likes on the channel, we will be giving away a free football shirt of your choice. And no, it won't be from DH Gate, as everybody always makes that joke. So far tonight, I've had 4 new subscribers, so another 21 and the likes. Let's move on to the next player then. Pete, I'll start with you. Raphinha, in the last week, has moved from Leeds to Barcelona for a big old fee, right? I think it was in the region of 65, 70 million in the end. It's a lot of money. They've already got players there like Ansu Fati, Dembele, Ferran Torres, Depay. They've got Aubameyang. They've now got
Lewandowski now as well.
So there's a lot of players up there. For that price, is he being bought in to be the main man, or is this going to be a simple we want him so we went and got him, rather than actually having a plan for him?
Yeah, I think they've done that with a lot of players over the last 5 years, haven't they? Dembele, Coutinho, you name them. They've just bought them for the sake of buying them. I don't know how they're buying these players because they still owe De Jong money. That's why he can't go Man United. Yeah, they're spending 70 million on players. I don't know how they're doing it, and there's plenty of clubs saying they might not be around in 3 years the way their finances are going. So it's strange the way that's going. But yeah, I mean, for him, he wanted to go there. He didn't want to go anywhere else. I think if Chelsea would have bought him, we definitely weren't buying him as soon as you mentioned 70 million. But anyone else would have bought him, you're getting a half-hearted Raphinha. Do I think he's good enough to play for Barcelona? Maybe not. For me, do you know what I mean? Leagues from Barcelona is a massive jump. Do you know what I mean? But I think in 2 years he'll be loaned out, and then just like Coutinho.
Do you remember when they signed Malcolm, that Brazilian winger who had a lot of potential? Never really worked out.
No.
So
I mean, it's like that all the time, isn't it? They just do it, so no one else can buy him, sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it does appear to be that. I mean, Henry, with the list of players we just mentioned, look, I'm always saying it's about squad depth, and I feel like when you look at those 6 players we just mentioned, 6 or 7 players, Barcelona have now got some serious threat, right? Some serious threat. Aubameyang and Lewandowski through the middle. You know, you've got Dembele and Raphinha who both play off the right, and then you've got Ansu Fati and Ferran Torres, and then you've got Depay. Obviously, he might be going, but that's some serious goal power right there, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. Still in the chat is absolutely spot on. That's how they're financing. They've sold a lot of their stock in TV rights. So according to people in Spain, they're not going to be as televised, and they're not going to be on the media as much because they've something to do with stocks and shares. I'm not entirely sure what they've done, and how they're financing it. But for a team that had no money to go out and spend 70 million on Raphinha, 40 odd million on Lewandowski, it's absolutely bonkers. I think they've got firepower, but I just don't see them winning it yet. I think I look at Real Madrid and I just think, right, every single player in that 11, right, is just an absolute a born winner. I know Barcelona have got Bouquet and they've got Busquets, and also they've got Ancelotti. He's been there, done that.
Yeah. Lot to be said for that.
Learning his trade. Obviously, he's a fantastic coach. Clearly, he turned them around with a lot of youngsters. But you look at their front line, all those players, as you mentioned, even without Memphis Depay, I think Dembele's just signed a new contract, has he not? So
that's why I was a bit shocked about the signing. Like, if I'm not wrong, didn't Dembele sign his new contract after Raphinha had signed, or in around the same time? Mm-hmm. I mean, it just goes to show, right, that all of this, who'll come and sit on a bench? It doesn't really work, does it? If you're big enough, people will do it, right?
Only Tottenham fans will tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, as Stel said, and big up Stel, can't wait to see you back streaming next week, mate. I'm really looking forward to it. Team Stel all the way. Look, I'm going to go out on a limb, Henry, and I'm going to say I think Barcelona are going to win the league.
Well, let's have a wager on it then.
We'll have a cheeky wager on it. Yeah, listen, only because I think at some point Real Madrid are going to have to come away from that middle three of Casemiro, Kroos, and Modric, and it's about how they do that. And listen, Tchouameni, Camavinga, quality players, but for me, it's about how do they do that, and does it have the same effect? I've also got a soft spot for Barcelona. I've loved watching them for years. I hope they go back and win it, but we'll see. I'm going to move on. Just a few more players before we actually talk about the Champions League. These are players that haven't moved yet. Okay, so there's three signings here that are on the cards, could potentially be happening. The first one is Dwight McNeil. Dwight McNeil today it's come out that he's in talks with West Ham and Palace. £15 million. I quite like Dwight McNeil. He looks like a decent player, right? Who needs him more? What would be the better move from him? Pete, let me start with you. What would be the better move for McNeil? Would it be West Ham or is it going to be Crystal Palace?
I'd say probably West Ham because they're more of an aerial team. He's sort of a bit of an old winger in a new age where he likes to cross the ball, but unfortunately that sort of died out in a lot of teams. So Burnley was fine because they had like Chris Wood and the other fellow who put it on their head and they're a nightmare to deal with. But I think West Ham, that's a good move for him. He's been sort of floating around for ages. Is this kid got it or not? And we never really know because he plays for Burnley. But take him up a level and then see what he can do.
Yeah. Do you think, Pete, it's going to be interesting to see him play? Because neither of those two teams play a 4-4-2. And let's be fair, at Burnley, I think he's only ever played 4-4-2, Sean Dyche system. Look, whipping in those crosses to people like Chris Wood and Barnes and Weghorst. Do you think this could be one of those where you suddenly see him flourish, moving higher up the pitch and actually in a better team?
Potentially. That's what I'm saying. It's a good move for him to show what he's made of if he can make that jump. He's not a bad player. I just think it's a lot of question marks over him.
Yeah, absolutely. Henry, McNeil, is Palace more his level or West Ham? That's another question, right? Is he good enough to go straight into a team that is competing in Europe?
I think what Pete said is absolutely spot on. He's like an old school winger in a new game. He doesn't really takes his man on. Kind of goes down to the byline, tries to put it into, like you said, either Barnes or Wood. I think West Ham need him more. But if I was a West Ham fan, I'd be very underwhelmed. You know, you're looking at Samaka, you're looking at players like that, and then you're going and getting Dwight McNeil. Yeah, West Ham are in a transitional period themselves because last year they were. You know, they got to Europa League semi-final. If I was a West Ham fan, I'd be knocking on the door saying, right, okay, what are we doing now? And when you look at let's talk about West Ham strikers, right? They never, ever, ever recruit a proper striker. So is Dwight McNeil going to play on the wing or is he going to go through the middle? You know, obviously, they've got Jared Bowen, they've got Antonio, they've got Ben Rama. But that's really it. When you look at Palace, they've got Andre Ayew, they've got Eze, they've got Zaha, they've got who's the other guy? They've got another guy as well.
Is it Elise?
Elise, and there's one more.
One they bought from Celtic. Is it Dembele or something?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
The guy they got from Celtic. West Ham don't really have a lot of depth up front. You know, a lot of their goals, West Ham, I think they're the second highest scoring defenders in the league last year.
Set pieces, isn't it?
Yeah, set pieces. Ogbonna, Diop, Dawson, Zuma, Souček. Yeah, I look at West Ham and I'll be going, Dwight McNeil? Is it? If you're a West Ham fan, how would you feel if you had been linked with Dwight McNeil, who's just been relegated? I'd rather go look at Burnley and go and get the Ivory Coast winger,
Cornet.
Much better signing, and he was available for about 15-20 million. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of make or break now for Dwight McNeil, isn't it? It hasn't really worked out.
I think if you're David Moyes and you've got a Souček in your team who's making late runs in the box, you want someone who can pick him out to make the most of his abilities.
But then West Ham rarely put the ball in the box unless it's a corner.
Yeah, but they never had the players to do it. It could be that he's changing what he's doing. Then you're sort of like see Souček be more like Fellaini maybe, where he's going to be coming in last minute, bosh, and now he's got the winger to put the ball in.
Yeah, we'll move on from West Ham before Henry starts getting all excited about Jared Bowen because we know he's got a soft spot, haven't you, Henry?
I absolutely love Jared Bowen at Spurs.
And Saka.
And Saka.
No, not Saka. I'll take Jared Bowen over Richarlison any day of the week.
I'll take many over Richarlison, mate. Don't worry about that.
Moving on, just quickly, there's 144 of you in the chat, and there is, I'm not going to read out the actual number, there are 70 likes. Guess from that what the number was. There are 70 likes. Please smash that like button. Please subscribe. I've gained 7 new subscribers tonight. If I can get another 7 or 8, I'd be over the moon. Subscribe to Henry Wright TV. Subscribe to Pete, his brand new channel. Go over and show some love. We all start from zero, so show him some love. The next player is this guy. I think we're going to get a much better conversation out of. Jesse Lingard. I put on TalkSport this morning while I was working, and the breaking news was Lingard leaning towards Forest over West Ham because Forest have bid for him as well. And apparently, guys, the difference is that Forest are willing to pay him 30 grand extra a week. Now, I've got so many questions I can ask you about this. It makes me feel sick, really, that we're in this position. Clearly a talented footballer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's ever been in doubt throughout his career. Not saying the best, but he's clearly got something. He's kind of sat at Man United, not really doing anything for years and years and years. Had a wonderful spell at West Ham, then didn't try and force through a move or anything. West Ham come back in for him. European football, top 6-7 club. If he goes to Forest instead of West Ham, what does that tell you about him as a man, but him and his actual his ambition as a footballer? Sorry, I know that was a lot, but there's so much about this guy, Henry.
I don't think it necessarily says a lot about his ambition, but once again, West Ham, these guys are free transfer, and you're getting outbid by Nottingham Forest. If you're a fan, obviously they're going to have an emotional connection to Lingard because he went there and set the world alight.
Yeah.
How do you feel you're being outbid by a team that hasn't been in the Premier League since early 2000s/late 90s, right? Or whenever it was they were last in. A promoted club. I'd be thinking, then again, do you remember we did our Premier League predictions last week? If they do get Lingard, then I'm on the money for them to have a good season. But then again, if you're West Ham, they again, they've got no firepower. Jesse Lingard went there, and got 9 in 13.
Henry, devil's advocate. Listen, that's all I want to do when I'm hosting. Devil's advocate. I get it. You don't want to be outbid by Nottingham Forest. But surely you get to a point where you go, hang on, how much is this guy actually worth a week?
They can't be paying him. There's no way Forest to be paying him like 150, 160 grand a week. There's no way.
I mean,
I imagine the contract's probably around the 100 mark. If West Ham lose out on Lingard on a free transfer, I'd be absolutely livid if I was a West Ham fan. Considering he knows the football club now. He's got the West Ham badge tattooed on him as well. Right. So I just think, yeah, I'd be fuming.
Okay. Pete, Lingard, for me, he is everything wrong with the modern day footballer. It feels like it's more about TikTok. It's more about Instagram. For me, he's Dele Alli with pace.
He's better than Dele Alli.
Huh?
He's better than Dele Alli.
I think he's better than Dele now. Yeah, I do. But Pete, if he goes to Forest, is this a brand new Lingard and he can revive his career, or is that basically saying my ambition's gone? I'm now going to go and sit in a relegation battle.
Yeah, I think he wants to be the big fish in a small pond. He was it at West Ham when he went there on loan. He was the best player on the team, carrying them. But now it's Jared Bowen, and you ain't going to compete with him now there. So don't want to go there. I want to go and be the biggest name in Nottingham Forest, which he will be. I don't think 30 grand. I think West Ham could match that if they really want to. I don't think he's good enough to hold anyone to ransom on money, really, just because he's free. But he's got a lot of rebuilding to do. I don't think he's going to do it at Nottingham Forest. I just think he's happy now. I'll be the main man. He'll be a god down there if he scores a couple of goals. It's good for Forest because they get a Premier League proven player, which they need. But I think for him, if he wanted to really rebuild his career, he would have gone West Ham and try. But I think that ship sailed when he didn't go back. I think when he didn't go back, he stayed at Man United a year so he could be on a free. I think he lost all his momentum. Everything went then. That was a wrong choice for him.
I mean, I was going to lead on to that, Pete. And, you know, we're all looking at it from the West Ham point of view. And, you're gutted if you lose out to Forest. If you're Nottingham Forest, you've just been promoted, right? And you go and get Jesse Lingard, who's recently played for England, Man United, West Ham, clearly got ability. How big a coup is that for Forest?
It's a statement signing, isn't it? And he's free. And they haven't paid for him. That's what most upcoming teams should do, is buy Premier League proven players, but they don't. Norwich come up with the same team and then they get battered and go straight back down again. And there's many other teams that do it.
Well, you think they've also got Dean Henderson on loan, right? So Dean Henderson, Lingard, they got the guy whose name escapes me that got 14 or 15 goals last year in the Bundesliga. They got Brennan Johnson, who I think is a wonderful talent.
Just quickly to King of the Indies, Dele Alli achieved more in his first season than Lingard. I don't know if you're aware, mate. Lingard's won a Europa League and a League Cup. That's more than we've done in the last 38 years.
Right.
So just pointing out there. And if you're not on Forest, you'd be ecstatic with this.
Yeah.
You bring in a player that I think if he goes Forest, he could get double figures. He'd be like Pete said, he'd be the big fish in a small pond. And he can kick on. People are saying he's 29 and he's finished. Like, it's 29's like the new 22, 23 now. Look at the way players are playing on. Zlatan's just signed another contract. He's going to be 41 years old next year.
Yeah. I suppose players like that, when you look at the Ronaldos, the Zlatans,
different mentality.
Their mentality. I'll tell you what, if we're talking about Dele Alli and Jesse Lingard, I'm taking my Spurs hat off, right? Actually, I don't even need to. Even with my Spurs hat on, I don't like Dele Alli. As his personality, his way of playing football, I think, is awful. But you look at players like that, Henry, and I can honestly see a player like Dele Alli being retired in 3 years at about the age of 28 because he's worried. But right, I can see that being the thing. And the problem is you will get comments like that, which hype these players up that they actually achieved something. Dele Alli had a couple of good years where he was an unknown quantity, burst onto the scene. People didn't know his game, ghosting in, scoring goals. His game didn't improve. He didn't have anything else to his game. For me, Lingard, I know he's a bit older, but I feel like he's heading down that route if he doesn't actually knuckle down and get something sorted. So we'll see. The last one I want to talk to you about, guys, is I'm going to butcher his name. Is Mukiel.
PSG.
He's in talks with PSG. He's a right wing back. They've got Hakimi, and they're going to buy this guy as well. I'm going to ask you this: how long until you start seeing all the rumours that it's because Spurs are buying Hakimi? How long until that rumour comes out?
Probably by tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Before we
tomorrow morning, there'll be links. It's just ridiculous. I think PSG are just buying him for a backup.
It's mad, isn't it? It's mad. I mean, okay, guys, let's move on from that. I want to talk a little bit about the Champions League. And then in 10 minutes, what we're going to do is we're all going to go through our best 10 players of the last 20 years who have played Champions League football. Now, I don't know about you guys, and we'll go on to this in a minute, but picking 10, every time I wrote 10 down, I went, oh, hang on, this guy. Oh, hang on, this guy. Henry, Champions League, Madrid have monopolised it in the last decade. I think they've won 5 of the 10, maybe 6. I'm not quite sure. Who are you making favourites for the Champions League? Why? And is there a chance that this is the year for Man City with Haaland? Is he the game changer that they need to finally get over the line?
Well, you've just chosen the team who I think is going to win it, and you've chosen the reason why they're going to win it. Man City haven't had an out-and-out goal scorer since Aguero left. Right? They had Gabriel Jesus, never really a 20, 30 goal a season striker. They've now got the hottest prospect in European football. They've got a striker that's got 154 goals in like 170 games, with about 20 odd assists.
He's only about 12, isn't he?
Left foot, right foot, header, raw pace, power. The only thing with Haaland is, because the way he's tuned, he's very much like Gareth Bale. So he's constantly on the wire to get injured because he's so powerful. So, every now and then he might get a hamstring injury, but Pep will know that. Pep's also got Alvarez, who is a machine out in Argentina for I think it was for River Plate. He was a machine as well. Then you throw in, they've got rid of Sterling, they've still got Mahrez, they've still got De Bruyne. The talent they've got is frightening. Now they're going to have Cucurella and Calvin Phillips in there.
Yeah.
They're going to walk the Premier League, in my opinion. And I think they're going to win the Champions League. I think finally or if they don't win the Champions League, they're going to get very, very close again, maybe final. But I think they will win it.
Okay. Henry's going for Man City. Pete, tell me you've got an alternative for me.
I haven't, I'm afraid. I think
Right.
this will be their. I think this will be their year. If they don't win it, then you got to think. I think Pep's out of playing cards. Like, what else can he do? He's bought the hottest striker. He's got some of the best players. There's no one else you can go. Well, he needs to go and get him to win the Champions League. You can't. Well, where does he go next? But I think they will do it. I think, although they won the league without having a striker, I think it cost them in Europe because they missed chances and they don't have that focal point a lot.
So are we completely writing off Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Chelsea, Liverpool, the mighty Tottenham? Are we writing off all of these clubs purely down to the Haaland signing? Is that how big an impact this signing is?
I think so.
Yeah, I think Pete's right. I mean, they've got the best manager in the world. You know, the only team I think could stop them is Real Madrid or Liverpool again. But Liverpool now, it's a different Liverpool. You know, they've got Darwin Núñez now. We never know. Haaland could come to the Premier League, get a big injury early on, and Darwin Núñez, I know at the moment he can't hit a barn door in pre-season and he's having epic misses, but he might set the world alight and get 30 odd goals. You never know. Conte's Lily Whites might, Jed Spence might have a blinder and pocket Haaland and we win the Champions League. And then you might wake up.
Can we put a case forward for anybody as a dark horse? You know, everyone loves an underdog, don't they? Everyone.
I think
can we see Frankfurt coming in and going Europa Champions League and going deep in that, or is it just going to be the big boys again?
I think Atletico Madrid probably your only dark horse for me because they can grind out games, don't they? They do it every year.
I think could do very, very well. AC Milan or Inter. I think.
Okay.
I look at Inter and I think, okay, they've got now Lukaku's back. People might say, oh yeah, he's got a touch of he's got a terrible first touch, but in an Inter Milan shirt, he's a different animal. And they've signed some good players. If they do get Milinkovic, is it how you say his name, from Fiorentina? They've also signed a few more players. AC Milan as well. Milan have been there, done that. I know it's not the Milan of years ago, but it's still Milan.
Yeah, and they're making a few signings as well. I think the Italian league is getting stronger year on year.
It's not far off the Premier League. When you look at the competitiveness, it's not far off the Premier League. You've got Lazio, Napoli. Look at Roma now. Roma have got Dybala.
Yeah. They've got Dybala, Pellegrini, and Zaniolo all in the same squad. Yeah, I like the Italian league because the Italian league is never won by about 25, 30 points. Even the season just gone, I think Milan and Inter, the last day, both of them could have won it. It would be nice for me. I like Italian football. I think it would be nice to see one of those Italian teams at least go quite deep into the competition. But they've not recently, have they? Like Inter Milan, even under Conte, people are saying a world-class manager and that they never quite transformed that form.
Yeah, you're right.
Why haven't Inter been able to have that impact?
With Inter Milan, Conte's never really been a European manager.
Yeah.
He hasn't really, even with Chelsea and Juventus, he never really goes and dominates like he does in the league. He's not like a Mourinho or an Ancelotti or a Guardiola or a Pep. Even Simeone's been to a few finals. I look at Conte. Yeah, he's been to the Europa League final a few years ago and he got outdone by Unai Emery. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I personally think he doesn't actually care that much about the Champions League. You know, I don't think Conte's ever won a European trophy non-stop. But when it comes down to a league title, he just destroys teams. You know, with our bang average squad, he had us looking at some time last season. He had us looking like quite a good team. But then in other games, we look absolutely shambolic. You know.
So let me ask you this then. So this, Pete, I'll come to you first. This is going to upset a few Spurs fans, but for all the trophies that Conte's won, and he's won where he's been, right? Can there be a justification for him being put on the same levels as the Ancelottis, the Peps, the Klopps, the Fergusons, the Mourinhos, the Allegris, you know, when he's not won a European competition, because if we're talking elite of elite, those guys are serial winners of European competitions. Pete, does he need to add that to his bow before he can be talked about in those terms?
Yeah, I mean, most Spurs fans will have you believe that he's God and he's the best manager ever lived. He's like the Italian Alex Ferguson, but for me, he hasn't won any of them, so he can't. He's the next level down. For me, he's just under them lot because, as you say, they're winners of European trophies and multiple winners. They're not just won it once; they're multiple winners.
Big words. I mean, Henry. Again, before anyone thinks it's Conte slander, this is just we're looking at it holistically. Is he in the conversation with those other Champions League managers, Henry?
I think he's a world-class manager, but I don't think he's an elite manager. I look at the top 5 and I think, right, okay, Guardiola, Ancelotti, Klopp. Then they're obviously, for me, they're the standout 3. And then below that, some might say Thomas Tuchel. I personally don't think Thomas Tuchel is an elite manager purely because, just my opinion alone, I don't think he gets enough out of his attacking players as he should. I look at Timo Werner's not done that great. Kai Havertz hasn't done that great. Lukaku is an absolute flop. Ziyech is going. And then you've got the next lot below. You've got people will laugh at me when I say this, but a lot of people will know the name I'm going to throw out there. But I think it's just my opinion. I think Unai Emery's in that crop below as well, alongside Conte. This man won a Europa League with Villarreal and nearly got to the Champions League final with Villarreal. You know,
he won multiple European trophies, isn't it? It's
yeah.
the same one, but he's still done everything.
Conte couldn't get past a Conference League side. We got beaten by Mura. When you look at Ancelotti, 5 Champions Leagues he's won it as a player, as a manager. Unai Emery's won 4 Europa Leagues. Mm-hmm. You look below. I think you've both got a valid point. I look at it and think, do you know what? Is he in that top 3 category?
No. He's set next to Simeone. He's like Simeone. Can win you a league, but can't win the big European ones as hard as they try. He's like the Italian Simeone, isn't he?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I feel like depending on who the audience is listening to that debate will depend on the answer you get. So because it's going to be
after 9 o'clock, so the ones are in bed.
Right, but because it should be, but because it's going to be predominantly Spurs fans, they're all going to say yes. But for me, I can't put any manager in. It's the same reason why when people tell me Poch is a world-class manager, not for me. He's not done anything in any top league and not won a European competition. Conte for me is a very, very good manager, but he's managed, he's not managed small clubs. He's managed Juventus. He's managed Inter Milan. He's managed Chelsea. These are clubs where you've got to be at least knocking out a Europa League. A comment here from Scott M saying, I would place him there because he's won multiple leagues and domestic cups at different clubs. Klopp has 1 Champions League trophy. How many does Pep have? Pep has 2. Klopp has 1. Ancelotti has 5.
Klopp's also won multiple league titles.
Yeah. See, these managers have done both.
Sorry?
Yeah. Yeah, and Klopp's got to multiple Champions League finals as well as winning one. I mean, I think he's got to. Has he got to 3 with Liverpool?
3 of the last 4.
Yeah, that
3.
one.
and he got to a final with Dortmund against Bayern Munich.
No, plus winning everything. It was against Bayern, though, wasn't it?
It was against Bayern. I actually remember watching that. Yeah,
it was at Wembley, wasn't it? It was at Wembley.
Yeah.
Henry, I know you've got to go in 3 minutes. Pete, if you're all right to just hang on for another 10 minutes afterwards, that would be great.
Yeah, that's fine.
Look, I'm not belittling any managers in any way. This could be Poch, it could be Conte, it could be Arteta, it could be whoever. I think you have to demonstrate in the top elite European competitions that you have the nous to navigate it and win it. Now, what people will throw at you is, well, Pep's not won it with Man City. Of course he's not won it with Man City, but you can't remove somebody's record book. You can't remove that he won it twice with Barcelona, playing some of the best football the world had ever seen. Jose Mourinho, the amount of hate and how much he's belittled. He's been to 5 European finals and won all 5 with Inter,
Man United,
Porto, Roma, and
Man United.
Man United. 4 different clubs, right? 4 different clubs, 5 European trophies. But yet we will knock managers like that. We will knock them and knock them and knock them, but we will praise and big up the ones that haven't achieved those levels. It's an interesting conversation for me. It's an interesting conversation. Ancelotti, Henry, I'm going to ask you this. Does Ancelotti get as much respect as he should have?
No, not in a million years.
Why?
Well, he's won the top 5 leagues, right? He's won 2 Champions Leagues of Real Madrid. He's won 2 Champions Leagues of AC Milan. But that alone is just absolutely obscene. The top 5 leagues, he's won them all as a manager. And then he's won 4 Champions Leagues. So he's achieved more in the European stage than Guardiola and Pep combined. You look at Mourinho, right? Mourinho has won, 2 Champions Leagues and 2 Europa Leagues.
Just quickly, his comment.
I see that he does correct himself because I saw that. That's what I was laughing at about 2 minutes ago.
Oh,
I saw that in the chat. Yeah. That's what I said.
Well,
Now you wait till that one comes up.
You look at Jose. For me, this is going to stir up a lot of shit. I think this is just my opinion. I think you look at the modern day managers. Everyone's going to say Ferguson. I think the next 2, in no particular order, are Jose and Pep. And I think I would put Jose down higher than Pep, purely on the fact that I don't ever see Guardiola ever going to a football club and that don't necessarily have success like Roma, like Spurs. Guardiola will always ever go to a club that is dominated by money. And yeah, you could say, yeah, he's got to manage all the egos. And I know what I did at Barcelona, he got rid of the likes of Deco and brought in all the youngsters. I know he completely transformed the game in his tiki-taka football, and that early 09, 10, 11 Barcelona team was the best footballing side you're ever going to see. But some of the things Mourinho's done, like winning a Champions League and a Europa League in back-to-back years with Porto.
Yeah, mate, it's phenomenal.
Honestly, that is like you winning. That's like you going to win the Premier League with Crystal Palace.
The problem is Pep is a victim of his own success in that front, because you know the age-old argument, people go, oh, well, I'd love to see him down at Villa and do it. I'd love to. The problem is, because of his success, he's never, ever going to go to clubs like that. And be honest, why would you? It's the same as saying, well, we'd like to see Ronaldo go and play for Fulham. It's not going to happen.
But then even on a Champions League rate, though, you know, Mourinho's won a treble with Inter Milan.
Oh, right? Amazing.
He beat Pep in the semi-final. He beat that Barcelona team.
Yeah.
He beat them with, and like his individual man management. When he really rates a player, like look at what he's doing with Tammy Abraham, what he did with Kane and Son at Spurs. Pep, I feel like Pep, when he's managing a football club, it's more about himself and the way they play than getting a result. So, like for instance, if Mourinho doesn't win a game, he's pissed.
Yeah.
If Pep played well, but he didn't win a game, he's calm. Where Mourinho's got a different mentality.
Henry, let's call it as it is. Again, Tottenham hats off. Jose Mourinho has been one of the greatest managers of the last 25, 30 years. No, let me scrap that. Jose Mourinho has been one of the best managers this world has ever seen. The problem is that people always... So, let's do this. If I was to say to you, Jose Mourinho, world-class manager, serial winner, every single place he's gone, other than Spursy, right? Spurs fans would go, not as good as a manager as Poch. Now, again, Spurs hat off. There is zero justification that
Jose
anybody...
Mourinho is bigger than our football club.
Yeah, right.
And that's fact.
Now,
You look what he's won.
Same with Ancelotti. Same with Pep. Here's a question to you two guys, and I know you need to jump off. I hear things like this. Like Jose's a dinosaur. Like Mourinho's a dinosaur.
What? How is he a fucking dinosaur?
Hang on. But if Mourinho's a dinosaur, right? Forget Spurs. Yeah, Spurs don't ever win anything, and he was sacked a few days before a final. He was the last manager to win anything at Man United with 2 trophies in his 18 months there, right? He's just gone to Roma, won them their first ever European trophy, right? Players still want to go and play for the man, but fans come out with things like he's a dinosaur, but he keeps winning. How does a dinosaur, Pete, keep winning?
I think it's fashionable to hate Mourinho on Twitter and all that and come out with this crap because there's zero justification for it, and people don't like him because he says it how it is, and he wants players to take responsibility for their own fitness, stuff like that. He wants men to be men, and now that's toxic masculinity and all that crap that he got accused of before. Same as I think Alex Ferguson he'd probably get the same amount of hate now, the way he manages. He's just that breed, you know what I mean? And he's probably the last one of that real mentality that is around now from that period. But he wins everywhere he goes.
It's comments like this, Pete. It's like he's shit now. He's literally just won a month ago. He's just won a European trophy. Now people will say Conference League, but the team he took over at Roma finished 7th the year before. They put him in a European competition, and he won it.
He's the only manager to win all 3.
If you had the choice, if you had a one-off game that you had to win, and you could pick any manager in the world for one-off game, you'd pick Jose Mourinho, because whatever it takes, you'd win that game. Doesn't matter how he'd win it.
Question for you before I go, because I do need to shoot. If Jose was in charge against that Pep's Man City in the League Cup, do you think we would have won?
I feel we would have had more chance.
Yeah, I agree. We had much more of a chance. The players had no belief in that game at all.
He would have strangled the game. Instead, what I watched was Spurs get absolutely played off the park and were lucky to lose 1-0. But
fucking Alamo.
I think, look, Henry, I know you need to jump off, so whenever you need to, please do. But
yeah, I'm going to shoot. Thanks for having me on, mate, and I'll see you in the morning. Pete, nice seeing you again, mate. And yeah, we'll do more. When's the next one? Next Wednesday. So yeah, make sure you're subscribing to Pete and obviously Savva, and I'll see you both very soon. Mate. Thanks for having me on, mate, and I'll see you in the morning.
Yeah, mate. Absolutely. Cheers, mate. I mean, Pete, it's an interesting one, this one, because if whenever I stick up for Jose Mourinho, I get told, "Oh, you love Jose." It's not that. It's not at all. I don't love Jose. But surely you've got to respect a man that keeps winning, even though he's a dinosaur.
Yeah,
I'm baffled by it.
I think you'll find there's a correlation between the mentalities of people who rate Jose and people who hate him, but still say the club's doing great and this is great and all the rest of it. Do you know what I mean? Where the ones like us who were pro Jose and question what's going on at the club, we're negative, we're this, we're that, and everything else. Do you know what I mean?
Pete, is this guy forgetting that this is a Conference League that Tottenham Hotspur couldn't get out the group?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I wasn't fussed about the Conference League because for the way it went in the season, but you can't fault him for winning it. At the end of the day, he entered the competition and he won it. So fair play to him.
Yeah, that's the thing. Look, I mean, what makes me laugh about Spurs fans, this is where I'll take my Spurs hat off, where I think we are ridiculed by other fan bases, Pete, is because we come out with things like this. You're all making a case for a Conference League. Who are the other coaches in that league? Well, there were English teams in that league.
Brendan Rodgers.
Conte managed in that league and lost to Moura. Right? Just saying.
Brendan Rodgers in that league. He's won the FA Cup recently. Right.
It always baffles me that as a club, we haven't won anything for 14, 15 years. But every competition, they only won that. Yeah, but Spurs can't even win that. At the end of the day, look, I'm going to move on from Mourinho because people there's so much hate. They They can't just say, yeah, the man's a serial winner. They have to have a dig. Pete, let's move on from that. Just quickly, just for the last 10 minutes, I want to talk about, I asked you to put together a list of your best 10 players. Yeah. By the way, Paul Pablo, we're talking about Mourinho because I wanted to, and it's my show. Quite simply. I asked you to put together your best 10 players for the last 20 years of Champions League football.
Yeah.
So I asked.
I've had easier challenges before, and I can say that.
It's a tough one. Now, just for the purposes of everyone watching, the brief that I did give to Pete was you are not allowed to pick Messi and Ronaldo because it's just pointless, right? It's pointless. We've removed Messi and Ronaldo from this game. Pete, I want you to go through your list, talk to me about each player briefly. I'm going to tick off if I've got them as well and see how different we got to. So it doesn't have to be in any order. Last 20 years, Champions League, best players you've seen in it. Go.
Ronaldinho. Do I need to explain?
I mean, for some people, I don't think some of the younger people wouldn't have actually seen him. And just how good, I mean, I know.
Oh, fuck me. He was disgusting.
But I mean, how good was he?
He could do anything with a football, that man. Watching him was a joy. You just watched it to watch him. That was basically it. The games when Barcelona were playing Chelsea, that sort of every year they met at some point, and he was just running the show. It was great. It were great games, but he was phenomenal. He'd do everything and anything he wanted.
Would you say he's the most skillful player you've ever seen? Skillful.
Yeah. The stuff he does was unreal, and he was doing it at the highest level. We weren't doing it in the French league. He was doing it at the highest level.
Yeah. He did it in every league. He did it in the French, Italian, Spanish.
They still do it now. He was nuts.
Proper
Samba. He was proper Samba player. That was he. Brazil in a nutshell was him.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember him, Rivaldo, Ronaldo, all playing at the same time for Brazil. It was dirty. It was dirty. Okay. So after Ronaldinho, who you got?
Ronaldo, not the number 9 Ronaldo, Brazilian Ronaldo.
The Brazilian Ronaldo. Okay.
Yeah, he was just a phenomenal player. Phenomenal player.
I mean,
what a striker.
Yeah. Is he the best striker you've ever seen? Striker.
Probably, because again, he could do everything and anything. He was so slick, and it's a shame he retired early when he did, and what happened to him. But if he could have kept himself fit like their players do now, he would fucking hell, he'd be something else. He was that game against Man United. He just run the games. Do you know what I mean? This is my show.
You know what? Just off the first two players you've mentioned there, this is what makes me laugh. You know, when people say now, like, "Oh my God, so and so's world class," I always think back and look at these players and go,
"That's world class."
You go, that's world class. This isn't world class. Do you know what I mean? A bloke gets 16 goals and go, he's world.
Yeah.
No.
Spoiler alert: Son's not in it.
Yeah, but this is the thing. All these people who love stats, what they would do is go, "Oh yeah, but he gave the ball away." This. Some of these players were just. You didn't need stats to tell you they were the best players in the world. But who's your next one, Pete?
Another Brazilian, Kaká.
Oh,
watching him was another joy to watch. Just ran games for fun. I remember against Man United, he just destroyed them single-handedly.
God.
Again,
I don't feel there's many players like, if there is any players like Kaká and Ronaldinho anymore.
No, definitely.
Where have they gone?
Don't know, but definitely not Ronaldinho. I don't think we'll be lucky to see the likes of him again.
God, not half.
Better players. We're probably better players in terms of stats, but in terms of skill and entertainment value, probably Messi, probably the closest one you'll get. But Ronaldo did it every game. He'd come out with something.
Yeah. Ridiculous. Is your fourth player also Brazilian?
No.
Who you got?
Zidane. Yeah.
He may as well have been.
Again, don't even say much about him. He was just top. I say no more. You mentioned the names enough, innit?
Do you know the thing that always was baffling for me about Zidane was up until about the age of 24, 25 maybe, he wasn't considered at that level. And then all of a sudden, he just ran the show for about a decade. And he was just different class, wasn't he?
Yeah, it's like Harry Kane, isn't it? About 20, 22, 23, he took off. And then before that, people were laughing at him saying, this bloke's shit. He ain't going to have a career. He's hopeless.
Yeah, one season wonder.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So Zidane. So you've had Zidane, Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, and Kaká. This is not a bad front line.
Yeah. My next one, Steven Gerrard. Now, some might go, "Whoa, what's he doing there?" But for me, his leadership ability in games, especially in big European games, when he pulled Liverpool out of the fire many, many times, he's a proper captain in my eyes. And some of the goals he scored were the top quality. When you had him on a pitch, you always had a chance, no matter what was going on, as he proved many times, namely in the final.
They don't make midfielders like that anymore, do they?
No,
everyone,
he's a proper midfielder.
Everyone now is but they're an 8 or a 6 or a 10 or a double pivot nonsense. He was just a world class midfielder, right? I miss those days, Pete, when midfielders could do it all. Right? Do you know what I mean? Class act.
He was quality. Next one is a German. Someone who's played that position, and he's Sunday League days. Philipp Lahm.
Oh,
all right, and he could play left back, but he was. Every time you watched him, you just knew this geezer was just top class. Everything he did was class. Rarely took the piss out of. Solid player, forward, back, everything. Good leader as well. Top class player.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
So far, I've had three of the ones you've chosen. I've picked 3 of them are in my reserves.
I've tried mixing it up a bit rather than just going for attacking players, because you've got to appreciate other aspects of the game.
For sure. So who's your 7th player?
Iniesta. Yeah. Again, don't need much saying, but for years he ran the Champions League for Barcelona under that Pep team with him and Messi and Pedro, him and Xavi, just different class. No one touch him.
Yeah. He was. I mean, it's the famous story, isn't it, that Pep Guardiola turned around, didn't he, to Xavi and said, you know, I passed the baton down to you. You carried it well, but he is better than both of us. Like, he was like, he's just amazing. Iniesta was just sublime.
You could put him in a phone box with 15 people and he still come out with. I still won't get the ball off him.
I don't think there's ever been a partnership in the history of football where as many passes have been exchanged as Xavi and Iniesta.
Oh, it's nuts! It's nuts.
Just amazing. Class player. Who's your 8th player?
I was going to put Xavi in there, but as I said, I thought I'd go for variety. So I went for Modric instead.
Oh.
I said to still be doing it at 36 years of age, running games. He's filth.
And hasn't he won like 5 Champions Leagues now?
Yeah, he's saying no more. You can never hold it. You can never say a bad word about him, even for leaving the club. Look what he's done.
Oh, amazing! I think there's certain players that do it at a level, but to then take it to Madrid and run the show for what's he been there now? A decade, maybe?
Something like that. It's got to be a good at least 8 years.
To have been there that long, and the only player to break the Messi Ronaldo monopoly on the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, I'll put it this way: when Madrid went on that streak after he got there of winning, was it 4 in a row?
But is it fair to say players like him and Iniesta, they made football look easy? Like some players you watch and it's all hard work and grot. They just make it look so effortless, don't they?
Yeah, the best players, the top truly elite world class players, always seem to play the game at their pace.
Mm-hmm.
It's always a trait. They've all had it. They don't get rushed.
Who else?
A personal favourite, really, on this one, Gareth Bale. just for what I've seen him do in the Champions League for Spurs and Real Madrid. I was at that one where he scored the hat trick. I was in the San Siro. I was in the supposedly neutral end, which is basically the Inter Milan home end. Nearly got mid kicked in, me and my mate. But fucking what a game that was! And he went to Madrid and done it as well. If it weren't for so many injuries, he's done it in finals. 2 finals, he's won them. Do you know what I mean? You can't knock it. That's just a personal favourite, really. That's a bit of personal indulgence.
Yeah.
Some of the goals he scored in the Champions League were filth, absolute filth. You see some of them.
I mean, yeah, lots of people. I mean, he didn't make my 10, but it was a very tough decision. Just quickly before we do, Football Ferreira, thank you very much for the super sticker, $3.49. Half of that money does go to charity, so thank you very much for sending that through. Alejandro, sorry, it's when my appreciation for footballers when I hear about a great footballer, and I don't mean a lot of the players now. That's why when people say to me, "Oh, you don't say anyone's world class," no, because I think the standard of football is really poor now compared to what it was. But we won't get into that tonight. Pete, I think you've got one more.
I think I get a lot of grief for saying Bale.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
I'm not. I said that's a personal favourite.
Last one.
What was my last one? So many here. I tell you, I did enjoy watching at Real Madrid. Guti. That boy with a ball, he could thread it through the eye of a needle. His passing was just unreal. Yeah, unreal. But there's so many you can choose, you know what I mean? There's so many.
Well,
I've got a list of about 20 people here, do you know what I mean? You've got Seedorf, Maldini, Figo.
Right, hang on. Let me do my hang on.
Business done.
Right, listen, we are going to go in a couple of minutes. Before we do, Football Ferreira, go and follow this guy on his YouTube channel and Instagram. He has said it's nice to see Peter pick those players and have a point about it. Great picks. Also, it's nice to see some defenders. Football is not all about who just scores or skill. Peter deserves a subscribe. Yes, please can I ask everyone in the chat, go out, subscribe to Peter. He's a great guy. His channel is called North London Is. He's just starting out. His first show is going to be next week. Show some love, show some support. The players that I picked that you didn't.
Go
on. Which obviously means some of yours you picked, I didn't. I put in there arguably the greatest defender of all time, Maldini.
He's on my sort of list of to pick from.
For anyone that hasn't seen Maldini play, when you talk now about Van Dijk's and Ruben Diaz's, when you talk about these Bastoni, this guy was better than all of them with one broken foot and one hand missing. He was just a complete different level of footballer. I would have put Baresi in, but I think he's probably just a bit further back than 20 years.
Yeah. I would have put Maldini, but I knew you would, so I thought we'd try and if we were at the same 10, it'd be boring.
Right. Yeah. Just quickly, Scott Emma said, if football is less quality now than in the past, it will be the only sport in the world that is the case. Well, it is. I mean, even when you're looking at this list of players that we're reeling off, there's not enough players in the world today. Like if you were doing a list today of the best 5-10 players in the world, it would be very easy to do, right, Pete?
Yeah.
But the last 20, 25, 30 years, it was always very, very difficult. I mean, you think of I'll go through these and then I'll rattle off a list of players that didn't make my top 10.
Honourable mentions. I've got some as well.
Yeah, honourable mentions. So I went with Raul.
Yeah.
It got in my list just because I think he's like the third all-time top goal scorer in the competition, won it multiple times, just legend. I put Xavi in. Yeah. Just Xavi was amazing. I also put Pirlo in.
Yeah.
Who was just, again, absolutely phenomenal. And here, just to back up my point about players, here are my honourable mentions, Pete. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Bale, Seedorf, Eto'o, Giggs, Drogba, Gerrard, Carlos Puyol, Benzema, Xavi Alonso, Lahm, Kaka, Davids, Edgar Davids, Ramos, Shevchenko, Lewandowski, Casillas, Busquets, Roberto Carlos, Marcelo, Hierro, Inzaghi, Neymar, Nesta, Henri, Scholes, Khan, PK, Robin, Buffon. It's
Keep going.
the talent was just absolutely ridiculous.
Nedved.
But look,
Pavel Nedved.
Mate, listen, we could be here
Del Piero.
night. Nedved, Del Piero. If we're looking at
Crespo, you could keep going.
Hernan Crespo, Juan Veron. You could put players in that: Patrick Vieira,
Rooney,
Marcel Desailly, Rooney, Deschamps, players everywhere. I'm hoping this is a joke because compared to the players I've just mentioned, this man isn't. Sorry. We can't. Yes, Luan Casillas was in my honourable mention list, but look, we are going to leave it there before I start getting loads of questions as to why Oliver, Skip, and Son aren't in there. Pete, thank you very much for your time. Much appreciated, mate.
Thank you. I've enjoyed
Best
it.
of luck with your channel. Let me remove this comment, please. You can see there, Pete at North London is. Please go and subscribe. I would love to hear from Pete in the morning that he got another 10, 15 subscribers from you lot. Help him get on his way. We'll be back next week. I'll be back with Savva Talk Spurs this weekend. Thank you very much. I'll see you all very, very soon. Bye-bye.
See you later. Ta-ra.